What's up? It's your dude Nilor again. Let's see how the summoning tools work, yeah? Get your ass over to the computer. Nilor.cool offers a set of 6 buttons called instruments that allow you to modify your prompts. To set up an instrument, go to Settings, Instrument, and here you can customize how your prompts are rewritten or described. Alright, for example, let's change this pink one to blue. You love the color blue. Context helps the rewriter to understand what it's supposed to be doing, and the function tells it literally what it's supposed to be doing. So in the function we go describe the following but make everything really blue. It's in. Now, select an image, click on the instrument a few times maybe, and let's see this in action. As you can see, it recreated our image and rewrote it so that everything is super blue. Amazing. Different projects require different instruments. That's why you can create loadouts. Go to Settings, Instrument, and as you can see, I have a bunch of loadouts. Let's create a new one. Call this Loadout 3. Add an instrument. So, let's say, scary. You love scary things. Describe the following, but make it very scary. Now, my functions are really basic, but you can be way more detailed in there, and it'll help the AI to understand how to rewrite it. Click Save. Now, there's one thing you shouldn't forget to do. Go back into Settings, Instrument, select our loadout, and make sure to actually toggle it so you enable the loadout. Hit Save again, and as we can see, we have our scary button. Let's click our first image, click scary a few times, and let's wait for the result. As you can see, we have some spooky images now. That's sick. You may have noticed that we're generating wide images. That is also a feature, so go back into Settings, go back to Instrument, and in here you can see Image Shape. We used to use square, now we're set to wide, but we can also try a tall image. Click on one, regenerate, and let's see what it makes. There we go. It upcycled it in a different aspect ratio this time. Damn, these images are pretty cool. Just as an example, I'll show you the square one as well. Upcycle, there we go. And this time it actually looks like a Polaroid. I want this in my house. Nah, just kidding. I'll put it in my neighbor's house. We can also feed Nilor, starting from an image that already exists. So, go down to this button, feed Nilor. Click it. You can upload any image that you want here. I already have one. It's just something from Instagram. It has kind of a PlayStation or low graphics 3D style. I'm just gonna hit upload. Now, I'm gonna do the exact same thing, but this time I'm gonna type in some keywords to modify it. So I'm gonna say 50mm lens, realistic, bokeh, motion, blur, just to try to make it realistic, and hit upload. Our first result already came in, so as you can see, it generated an image that is based off of the image that we uploaded. So it has the general vibe of that image and the general composition as well, which is good for recreating something that already looks nice. Now, here we have a little problem. Content moderation kicked in, even though it probably wasn't even that inappropriate. Sometimes you can get around this by just hitting upcycle once, and there we go. The upcycle trick worked. As you can see, I guess it tried to generate something more realistic, and there is definitely motion blur going on here, so the modifiers help you get into a direction right away. Another really important button is the Smush button. This one. This combines 2 images into one, so let's try it with these 2, for example. Select both images and hit Smush. If we try to do this with only 1 image, it's going to tell us we need exactly 2 images. So, that's something to keep in mind. Let's see what it generated. These 2 results were very different from each other, and so I'm not really sure what it created here. However, sometimes if we upcycle it a few times, we get results that more closely resemble something that we initially wanted. So as you can see, this one is a pretty good mix. Oh, this one I'm going to put on my wall. Yep, this is going on my wall, for sure. Now there's another button as well, which is Mimic. Mimic looks at the image and makes a new prompt based on how the image looks like. I'll try it with this one right here. Now, the thing about Mimic is it makes really loose interpretations of the image that you selected, unless we use the parent influence style. Right now, it's set to something quite low, which means it's not going to use much of the image that we had selected previously. However, if I select that same image and turn the style all the way up to, let's say, 85, then press Mimic, with result, it's going to use much more of the initial image that we had selected. Let's try that again with somewhere halfway. Still a very loose interpretation. Let's move it to 75. There we go. But the style also works with upcycle. We set this to 100 and then click upcycle. If I set this back to something really low, like 0, and hit upcycle, you can compare the differences. So this is 100%. It's essentially the same image, and this is 0%. So it's nothing based on the previous image, just going off of a new scene. So this style can be really handy to hone in your image. There's one last button that is pretty hectic. It's this one, combine. Now, we need a full loadout for this to work. So I'm going to switch to one that is already full. I'm going to click this image, and I'm going to hit combine. Now, what combine does, it essentially combines all these 6 instruments together for one big new instrument button. Yes, and so the results can get quite unpredictable and hectic, which is something that you might want sometimes. So yeah, that's pretty much the tools, and these allow you to really get to an image that you want. Just play around with them, get familiar, and you'll get comfortable in no time. You can do this with your friends as well, if you have any. Anyway, I'll show you in the next part. Sucker!